So welcome, everybody. I am super excited for this evening. Our speaker is someone that I've known for several years now and am super duper excited to be, sharing time and space with because she's amazing. So Season has been kind of working in the tech field, I guess, for over a decade. And she is an Agile coach. She describes herself as helping teams find their purpose and motivation to deliver value. And she does that, kind of using Agile methods and techniques and, things like Scrum and all of that. And her main focus is really on team health, right? This thought that like healthy teams build great products. It makes a lot of sense to me. And she's worked at companies like Amazon, Atlassian, Dolby, TripAdvisor, and she's also done work through Agile Learning Labs. And the clients that she's worked with all just adore her, absolutely. And they're clamoring to have her back. So just putting that out there. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Season.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. So first up, everything that you're going to see tonight, I put a link in chat. It's in a mural board. Feel free to follow along there. But I'll also be sharing my screen in case pulling up the mural is not available to you. So speaking of screen sharing, hi, I'm Season. I love food. I specifically love eating food. So that is probably how we arrived at ingredients for high performing teams. But the funny thing is I'm not actually much of a cook. We didn't get to my disaster story, but I learned the hard way that you can burn water. Who knew? Boiling it in a pot, you can burn it. So yeah, it's funny that we are on this kind of food theme tonight. So love it, but can't make it. As Chris mentioned, I am a Scrum Master. I'm an Agile coach. I cannot believe I can say I've been working in tech for over a decade, but I have at this point, and you might recognize some of these companies that I've worked with that Chris mentioned. I also have a website and a blog. I post every week, got a newsletter going as well. So if you're interested in hearing more, I'm at awkwardagile.com. So with just these 5 ingredients, you too can have a high-performing team. I first just want to say, nothing about this presentation is clickbait. It's not instant perfection. There are no secrets in what we are going to talk about tonight. You probably already know everything that we are going to have a conversation about. There are really no secrets to a high-performing team, but it can be easier said than done, I guess. Even if you know the ingredients that go into a high-performing team, it's always good to talk about them. I've, like I said, worked with a bunch of different teams across a bunch of different organizations, and this is just what I have seen as common themes across high-performing teams over and over again. So before we even start, if we're talking about high-performing teams, what is a high-performing team? And this is an actual question. I want you to type in chat. I want you to unmute. What is a high-performing team?
Must be a self-organized team. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want to speak up a little louder?
Self-organized team.
So
Everyone should know about the positives and negatives of all the team members so that everyone can support each other.
I love that. Supportive team, focusing on the positives. What else?
Yeah, a further team must be open and transparent too.
It's a spirit of openness and transparency. Any other thoughts or ideas on what is a high-performing team? So Paula in chat says it's a team that collaborates and supports each other in successes and failures that is working towards a shared goal. Awesome. Love that, Paula. Who else?
I would say a high-performing team is a team that has a strong understanding of the work that they are tasked with and how to do it and what their capabilities are in both in terms of their skills and also what they're able to do in a certain time period.
So they know what they need to do and they know their capability of getting it done within a given time. That's awesome. I'm seeing continuous improvement. I'm seeing self-managing, achieving results, feeling safe, cross-trained, healthy conflict. Ooh, Baldwin, I love that one. It took me a long time to recognize what healthy conflict looks like. Great call out. So to me, when I think of a high-performing team, I just think of a team that works well together to deliver high-quality work. And I can tell from all of your responses that I think what we're going to talk about will sound pretty familiar to you for kind of what goes into a high-performing team. So as we have touched on, it's shared goals. It's shared understanding of the work that needs to be done. It's a purpose. We know why we're here. We know what we need to do. There is a clear shared understanding of what we are here to achieve as a team, a purpose. What that looks like, it could be a vision, could be a mission statement, mission test, could be a product goal, could be OKRs. Whatever that is in practice, it is some documented, clear, transparent, arrived on by the team together and agreed on, not just thrust upon them, purpose of why we are here and what we are doing as a team. So if you look at this photo, we together tonight will have a purpose, and I'll give you some hints on what we might be making. We've got some flour. There's probably some sugar off the screen. We have milk or a vegan milk alternative. We've got eggs or a vegan egg alternative. What do you think it is that we're making tonight with those ingredients?
Pork chops.
Those would be some pretty gross pork chops, Chris. How do I mute you?
Could be pancakes.
Could be pancakes. That's a good one. Getting close. Flour, sugar, eggs, probably oil, frosting. What else? I might have heard cake. Okay, yep. So, spoiler alert, we tonight will be making cakes. And together, so this is an exercise. I want to give you some tools that you can do together with your teams. And one of those is just coming up with a vision. Here's a template that you can use. I like to look pretty far into the future when I'm doing a vision statement with a team, just to give them that kind of long-term vision of like, hey, we're not optimizing for the next 5 minutes. Like, what is our long-term future goal? So I'd like to use a template that looks something like this, and we're going to do this together for our cake team. So and what is 5 years from now, team? I'm terrible at math. 2027. Okay. So we know that we're making cakes, but I don't just want to say like by 2027 our cakes will, like I want a flashy name for our product, something cool, like a team name, product name. What's a cool name for cakes? I'll take the first one that anybody shouts out. Product idea name for cakes. I've heard of companies like Sprinkles, Baby Cakes,
Sweet bites.
Sweet Bites. All right, by 2027, our product, our Sweet Bites will. And you can go in a couple of different directions from this point. So you can say, we will be the best cakes in the world. We will have the most people who eat our cakes. We will be known for the tastiest buttercream frosting. Like, what is it that is really, really cool about the Sweet Bites cakes that we're making? What are we striving for? And I'll take anybody who wants to chat or shout it out. Yeah, if you wanted to pick one of these, be the best cakes in the world, have the most people eating our cakes.
So
Be known for.
Eric says, be known for a taste that makes you want more.
Be known.
Be known for a taste that makes you want more.
And I missed some of the really funny names in chat first. We've got Cacophony, we've got Volcano. I'm loving this, catching up on that right now.
Youngsters.
Oh, that's a good one too. So by 2027, our Sweet Bites cakes will be known for a taste that makes you want more. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. That's engaging. We can sign up for that. So that's how cool our product is, and that's our long-term vision. So we want to think about when people use our product, what difference are we making in their lives? So people who eat Sweet Bites or try Sweet Bites, maybe they report a 10% increase in happiness, or they voted Sweet Bites to be the tastiest cakes in the world, or they share photos of Sweet Bites on social media 1,000 times a day. How do we know that we are making a difference in the lives of our customers? What's one way we could measure that?
They report gaining no weight from our cakes.
Sign me up for that. Okay. So this is an example of a vision exercise that you can do with your teams. I love to do it at the start of a project, maybe as part of a liftoff exercise, but you can do it at any time. If you see that your team is missing some kind of focus or something to bring them together, or they don't have energy around what they're building, or they've lost touch with their customers, bring them in a room and do an exercise where you touch base on why we're here. Sometimes what I like to do is maybe go to whoever might be involved with product, like product manager, product owner, and we might come up with like a template or a draft and bring it into the team to then get their feedback on. Like sometimes in a mural, I'll present it like this and say, okay, team, circle things that don't make sense, ask questions, mark this up, because you're signing up for this as your vision and you're saying this is why we're here and we're going to own this together. But I find that there's real power in doing this together as a team and really just saying like, hey, this is why we're here. This is our purpose. This is what we're doing. This is our difference in the world. We are making the tastiest cakes. People are gaining no weight. Like, we're doing something really exciting. Let's talk about it and define it and be on the same page together. Let's have a purpose. So teams that I've worked with that I would consider high performing, they create this purpose together. If you go to anyone on the team, they can tell you what it is, or they can point where their vision is posted on a board or on a Confluence page or wherever. It is incredibly transparent and it is shared amongst the team. Any thoughts or questions on purpose? Anything you want to call out?
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
So we have a company. We are a business consultant, and in Brazil we have the biggest community to business consultant there. And our vision is a number 555 and 3,000 people in our community until December 2023. But when we are explaining about vision, I have a question in this time because I actually we share with our team only the number 555, 023, and 3,000, but it doesn't have the context. The context. You think is a problem about that? We need maybe create a phrase, a context to inspire and connect these people, our team, with the vision.
Gustavo, I would turn it over to you. What do you think? Sorry,
Yeah,
classic coaching
uh,
move.
yes, I believe now. I believe because the first thing when you was explaining for us, in my mind, I asked, oh, okay, 555 and 3,000 people in our community. But the biggest question is why? Why we want to do this? No? So yeah, I believe.
Yeah, I
Make sense?
Yeah, totally, totally. What you're getting at is the why. And I think that vision, purpose, all of this speaks to the why. The why do we show up to work each day? Like, yes, okay, it's for a paycheck, obviously, but having more meaning in your work beyond that is what will keep you coming into work besides just collecting that pay. And sharing that with the team and getting to shape that together with the team instead of just being told why you're here. That's a big difference to me in a high performing team versus one that is not. So you hit on something really good there. All right,
Okay, thank
sweet
you.
bites.
I
Yeah,
got it.
thank you. Tasty cakes, not gaining any weight. Love that. So moving back over here, getting my presentation back on. Ingredient number 2, again, likely not a surprise to anyone here. So if you take a look at this photo, this person here, this hand, who is, I think, plating some mushrooms. Like I said, I love food, but I'm not a cook, so I'm just guessing. This person's actually a pastry chef. This person here, who I think is putting on like a black garlic chip onto the plate, this is a waiter. So pastry chef could be over in the pastry chef lane, making the beautiful sweet bites, fat-free, no-calorie, delicious cakes, while maybe the people who are doing the plating are struggling. Maybe while customers, their orders are getting delayed and pastry chef is saying, oh, it's not my problem. I'm the pastry chef. I make the sweet bites. Waiters saying, oh, I only know how to be a waiter. I don't know how to do any plating. I can't do that. Versus a team that's saying, oh crap, we're in this together and this is our restaurant and we have the vision to be the best and we're going to come together and do whatever it takes to produce that value, to make our customers happy, to honor our purpose. In the software world, whether I'm a developer, QA, front end, back end, maybe even design, maybe even technical writing, the teams that I see that I consider to be high performing, one that I can think of just off the top of my head, we had a release of some music software right before a really big conference. So hitting that deadline. Developers were in QA. They were doing manual testing. They were doing automated testing. They weren't sitting there going, oh, I'm not QA. I will not do that. They're saying, man, we've got this big music conference. I'm really proud of my work. I'm going to step outside of my expertise, my subject matter. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this product out the door. To me, that is cross-functionality. That is working as a team. That is what separates a working group where someone is just in their lane, doing their work, staying within their comfort zone and their expertise, versus saying, maybe this isn't in my wheelhouse, but I want to learn, I want to help, I want to work together. This isn't about me. This is about us. Cross-functionality, working together as a team. And yeah, it can be hard if you've got short staff. Like sometimes even having short staff forces you to be more cross-functional. That's where maybe like the product owner is jumping in and doing some QA, or like the Scrum Master goes in and does some code, but they're not staying in their lane. They're willing to go outside of it and work together as a team. So again, I want to give you these exercises that you can bring to your teams that you can try on your own. One that I like to do is called a capability matrix. So this is where, if you're able to, I would love for you to flip over to the mural and participate in this one. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I think we've got about 7 slots open. So if you want to jump in and add your name to one of these Post-it notes, I will take the first, like I said, bad at math, 7 people who want to jump in and try out this exercise. So you'll just double click and you'll write your name on one of these existing Post-it notes if you want to give this a try. And while we're gathering volunteers over here, so we are on slide 5 or 6, I think, and I think I can summon you here. That might make it easier. Here we go. I'm summoning everybody in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Ah, our Post-it notes disappeared, but if you want to grab a Post-it note right here, we have 7 other open slots. So grab a Post-it note and write your name on one of them. And I will explain, and our cakes disappeared too. Oh man, alas, okay. I will explain how this works. So go ahead and grab a Post-it note, write your name on it and drag it to one of these open slots over here. And it looks like there we go, perfect. So I'm here, we've got Paula going right here. So go ahead and grab a Post-it note like this, write your name on it. We have 6 open slots at this point. So what we're doing is called a capability matrix, and here's how this works. Again, it's a great exercise to do with the team at the very beginning as part of a liftoff. But again, at any time with the team, you can go in and you can say, hey team, I've noticed that tickets are really piling up in QA. Or like, hey team, I recognize that we're really short-staffed and we're gonna have to get scrappy. What I wanna do is make the skills of the team very transparent about what we are absolutely ready to do, about anything that we might need to learn about, but we're willing to try. Or, hey, if there is something that you never, ever want to do ever, that's cool. We want to know that. So that is what a capability matrix does. And this is the one that I have made for us as Sweet Bites, this team making the cakes. So again, not a cook, just guessing here, but what are the skills needed to make cakes? We will need to buy ingredients for cakes. So the skill here that we're looking at is someone ready to go to the store. They know what ingredients to make for cakes. They're doing that. We need someone to actually go in and mix those ingredients for us. So if you're really good at mixing, anyone who's awesome with an oven, needing to bake those ingredients, keeping an eye on that time, not burning it, not underdoing it. We also have a skill where we need to decorate the cake. So getting that frosting on and any decorations. And we need someone who can drive the cake to the venue. So this is an example with cakes, but I typically work with teams who are doing software. So we might say, we need front-end development, we need back-end development, we need automated testing skills, we need manual testing skills. Get those skills up on the board and then have your team write their names here so we can see the full team. And then my cakes disappeared. So on the fly, I'm really quickly going to do this just in Post-it notes instead. So I have the team take cakes, Post-it notes, whatever it is that we're using here. And I say, okay, so if you take a green Post-it note, and actually let me make these a little bit smaller. Take a green Post-it note, and a green Post-it note means yes, I can totally do this thing. I am super confident in my skills and I importantly want to do this. When I see teams doing an exercise like this, I think sometimes they miss out on that, like, hey, I want to do this. Like, I might be really, really good at this, but I hate doing it. Like, call that out. We want people to be doing what they want to do. So green for me means I absolutely want to mix the ingredients because, confession, I like cake batter more than the actual cake. So if I get to mix it, I know that I get to try the cake batter and I will probably die of salmonella, and it's worth it because it's so good. So I'm putting a green on mixing the cake, and I see that we're running out of Post-it notes, so I'm making some more here. Yellow means, I can't do this, but I'm willing to learn, or like, hey, I know how to do this and I'll do it if I have to. That's cool. So me, I can try to bake the cake in the oven. I might burn it. I need to learn how to do it a little bit better. I need to learn what ingredients go into a cake. So I'm yellow on these. That's where I'm going. And then red, which we're going to use pink for this, red is saying, this is absolutely something that will crush my soul. Please do not ask me to do this. I really don't want to. So some teams, maybe they really just, if you make them manually test anything, they will sob into their keyboard. Like, these things come up and that's okay. Like, if you made me decorate a cake, Pinterest fail immediately. It's gonna look terrible. I don't have a car, so I can't drive something to a venue without a car. I'm putting red, pink here. So if you take a look at our team right now, we're trying to make our sweet bites, our tasty calorie-free cakes. What are you seeing about our team? What do we have the skills for? And where are the gaps? I'd love to hear from you and your take on this team.
Well, there's a gap in bakers, of actually baking it.
No greens and baking. So what should we do?
There's a couple of people that were yellow that said that they might be interested.
Yeah, so Smita and Galila, would you, and Silpa, you're kind of on the yellow and I'm yellow, like, okay, I'll try it. Anybody else willing to step up and bake? Or maybe we could take a class in baking, or, oh, cool, hey,
Certified cake master.
there we go. 2-day course Cake
Absolutely.
baking, career change for Chris. We have a green. So in this situation, you'll run into sometimes like a gap in skills. People maybe really don't want to do this thing, or like they're kind of on the fence about it. And I turn it straight over to the team. I'm not going to solve this for you as your Scrum Master. You're a self-organizing team, so organize. What do you want to do? And it can be, okay, hey, we've got someone who's willing to move into green on that one. Or, hey, we accept that we're yellow, we think we'll be okay. Or we hire someone, or we take a certified cake master workshop. But this tool is forcing this conversation and transparency. What else? Are we really good in any areas?
We have a lot of shoppers.
Awesome. So we have a lot of people eager and willing to do the shopping. So we want to think about, hey, does that impact the team down the line? If we've got a ton of people buying ingredients, are we going to have too many ingredients? Is it not all going to fit in the oven? Like, hey, super exciting that we're all willing and excited to do this work. Team, what's the impact of that? Let's discuss. Anything else that we're seeing about this team that's coming to light? Decorating, I'm seeing. Silpa, you are a brave soul for that. Thank you. Maybe a little bit light there. And then like maybe sneakily in the background as a Scrum Master, and this isn't something I would share with anyone. I'm just kind of thinking it. I'm thinking like, oh wow, Silpa's got a lot of green, like willing to step up and work on stuff. Like, cool, that's great. Man, season just not right here, like a little hesitant to step in and do things. Like, okay, so that's cool. She's honest about her abilities, like keeping an eye on that. Like, it's up to you how you want to interpret this, and you're welcome to look at individuals if you want to. But I think that the real value of this exercise is identifying cross-functionality as a team. What skills do we have? What skills do we maybe have a gap on? You can try this with your teams. I put it together like really quickly in Mural, and it's, you can see it's uneven, it's not perfect, but it's really about the conversation at the start of a team. If you're running into any issues, it's a great thing to try with them.
Susan, I would like to drop myself from buying ingredients because, yeah, there are a lot of people who are expertising the team. So
Yeah, so if I heard you, we need more people buying ingredients, or can you tell me more?
I mean, we have a lot of people buying ingredients who are capable of doing tasks. So I would like to volunteer myself not to do that task so that I can concentrate on other things.
Awesome. So if needed, you're willing to step up and buy those ingredients, but hey, through this conversation, we see that it's pretty well covered, and maybe it might be best to focus on those tasks that need other skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is something that comes up in that conversation of like, okay, we're going to kind of adjust our areas and just see based on that conversation. Other thoughts or questions? Excellent. All right. So we have purpose. We have a cross-functionality. Let me get back into presentation mode here. All right, and that was our capability matrix, and kind of ended up as a 2-tier cake. So that was fun to see. We are actually going to get to work here. We are going to make cakes, and no, we can't actually make cakes. We're virtual. It's going to be a virtual exercise. So it's honestly going to be more like drawing cakes, but I want you to have the experience of forming teams. So we are going to break up into 2 teams. We are new teams, and we want the experience of what is it like to be a new team together, because forming a team is part of being a high performing team. So Chris, if you can break us up into 2 breakout rooms, and we'll take, let's say, like 4 minutes or so. And what do you need to be a self-managing team? What are your skills on your particular team to draw a cake? What experience do you have with cakes? Introduce yourselves, maybe start some planning as a new team. We're working on this product. Got 4 minutes to really get to know each other as a team. Cool. Chris, we ready to send them off?
We are ready to send them off to get to know their new teams and figure out how they're going to draw these cakes. I'm super excited to see how it goes. So everybody, off you go to meet your teams.
Hey teams, welcome back. I know that we set you off to do some discussion and preparation and get ready to do this work on your teams, and you're all set. And I know this is super disruptive, but just management, our needs have changed a little bit. So we need to make some changes to the team structure to improve our efficiency. We need to move some resources around. So we're gonna send you back into the 2 teams, and they may look a little bit different. And just, you know, the deadline's approaching, so we're gonna give you maybe 2 minutes this time. But what we need from you, we need a plan to make those cakes. We need you to get started as new teams. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and send you off to your new teams. So go ahead and form those teams.
All right. And we really need this plan, like in
Yeah.
2 minutes. Yeah, it's really important, mission critical.
Mhm.
All right.
2
Off-
minutes.
Yep, just gosh, those welcome back teams. We've got those really tight deadlines going. Just management, we've come up with a new resourcing plan. Just we're gonna send you off into your teams. We need that plan. Yep. Good luck, teams. Oh my God.
All
Okay,
right.
like
And
bring
now,
them back like immediately.
here they go.
All right, I'll go back to sharing my screen. Hi. How was that?
Extremely productive. I feel really productive now.
Did your velocity increase as a result of the resource sharing?
Annoying.
I think I'm FTL.
Did you ever play a game called Flux?
Yes, where the rules change.
And the goal changes.
Yep.
You know Amelia?
I do.
So she did a thing with Flux at Agile Games West a few years ago, and it had this feel. Nailed it.
I'm seeing people quitting. I'm seeing that there wasn't time to quit. Hey, you know what? We're still getting paid.
Right.
Shut down. People shut down.
They do. Because here's the thing. I see this just everywhere I've gone. Ingredient 3 for high performing teams is you have to give them time. You have to give them time to work together, to learn about each other, to establish ways of working like this, forming, storming, norming. this is real, and I have seen it over and over again. Every team I've worked on has this pattern. And every time that you make a change to the team, like, oh, we've got this high priority on another team, I've got to pull this person off, like, oh, we've got to share you with another team, like, oh, we're not delivering fast enough, we're going to add more resources to the team. And God, I hate that word resources so much. It's people, they're people. Every time that happens, you send the team back into these forming, storming phases. Every change to the team is a step back. It's a shock. And I felt so bad, but kind of maybe a little bit like vindicated, like, oh, this is what it feels like. But just sending you through all of that, that is how teams feel when you're constantly changing the people on the team, the rules, the goals, the product. You have got to give people time to form connections and a way of working. Leave the people alone. Any thoughts here?
I think it takes courageous leadership to allow for powerful teams.
How long do you think it takes to form a strong team? Do you have any personal experience where you could kind of like bound the estimate?
I mean, the answer is always going to be it depends. Please don't hate me for that. But like if I had to throw out, I'm thinking of teams that I've worked with that are like, yeah, they've got it. I personally tend to see it at around maybe the 2-month mark for teams. Like,
For how many people, please?
Yeah, teams that
So-
I work
Great.
with are typically like 9 or so. Is a good 9 or smaller tend to be a size. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that would. Thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah, we want to work with smaller teams so we have those lines of communication so we can work nimbly together. 9 or fewer tends to be the sweet spot for teams that I've worked with. And I'm thinking back to just my experience with those teams. And during that first month, that's really that like awkward getting to know each other phase, moving into that like, oh, are we doing that? Well, I don't want to do that. Well, the team I worked on before did it this way, and the company I worked for before did it this way. And that storming and a little bit of conflict, some of it healthy, some of it not so healthy. And then towards the end of that second month, we're like, okay, we've got our process, we're trying things out. We know each other, we've made some mistakes, we're getting comfortable with each other. That for me tends to be the sweet spot, but it varies. It varies team size. It varies, what is the culture like? What are leaders like? Do they leave them alone? Is it a virtual team? What are the time zones like? Like there's so many variables that can go into this. Other people's experience, what has been your time frame?
I would share that for my experience with newly formed Scrum teams, which I get to work with those a lot, it seems to be measured in sprints more than hard time. So like 3 to 6 sprints seems to be like where teams start to like figure themselves out and get past the forming and storming stuff and really start to get into the flow. And then getting to high performing, goodness, that could take quite a while longer, right? It's a kind of often a long climb up that slope. But yeah, 3 to 6 sprints. It's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of short sprints, like 1-week sprints, because it like gets you through the cycle faster.
Yep. 3 to 6, I see 8 tends to be the number that if hard pressed, 8 is a good number. But it does take that time to get that same group of people working together. Put them in there, leave them alone.
If there's an environment of low trust, it can take a lot longer. And I
Mhm.
also think that circumstances can accelerate it. Like if there's chemistry and there's a really super clear, like really intense, like purpose, and it's super focused, some things can gel and accelerate it. But I also think, there's sometimes an environment where it just takes longer because it takes them longer to let their guard down.
Definitely. It's if you don't see vulnerability and trust being modeled within the organization, you're likely not going to get it on the team right away. Okay.
So you've done a little bit of visioning. You've done your skills matrix. You've got your team together for 6 sprints. Now management adds another person, or they take one away.
Mhm.
Now what?
Mhm. Now you're back in that forming and that storming and that norming.
But taking one person away from a 9-person team is less damaging than adding a person. So it's not quite symmetric, but it is bad.
I would say that I would hesitate to measure like the impact of a person in that way. And I would say, yeah, it's no matter what, it's all to the detriment of the team. And there have been circumstances that I've worked in where taking that person away from the team was ultimately a positive experience in the long term. They were not a good fit. You still had to go back and how are we going to cover that person's work? Like you still had to have those conversations. But yeah, it depends is always the answer. Okay, I'm
Oh,
a
can
little
I be provocative and give you the resource efficient manager answer? What a waste of time.
as soon as I hear that word resource, I just shut down. Just shut down. I'm a little scared to do this now, but you have to trust me that you really are going into 2 teams, and I really am giving you time this time. Like, promise, no tricks. We really are going to make those cakes. Chris, I want to do a time check with you. I was thinking 8 minutes for this exercise. Do we need to shorten that a little bit?
Yep, sounds good.
8. Okay. So if you are on team 1, you are going to, on the mural board, click here to go to your sweet bites cake making station. If you're on team 2 on the mural, you are going to go here. You're going to have 8 minutes to deliver a cake. So team 1, you'll be here, you'll click here, you'll go somewhere. Team 2, you'll click here, or you will go somewhere else. Team 1, I'll be joining you in your room. Team 2, you're on your own. We trust you and the decisions that you're making. Cool. Let's send them off.
Off they go. I guess everybody on team 1 is going to get bonuses this year in stock options.
Well, I mean, our CEO has been working so hard that we want to make sure that, you always start from the top, right, Chris?
Well, yeah, of course.
All right, I'll go ahead and
All
share
right,
my
in
screen again.
about 30 seconds, the other team will be back with us.
I'm always a big fan of bonusing delivery because, you'll always deliver.
Yep. Individual productivity should be rewarded.
Don't reward outcome, reward output.
I had to be really mean to that team. It was hard. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh man. Thank you for bearing with us. All right, welcome back, everybody. So we're going to take a look at the work of each team. And more important, even than the work that the team did, we'll start with team 1. How was that for you?
It was stressful because you kept wanting to jump in and help.
Mm-hmm.
It's stressful. Yes, like what? leave them to do that. Don't need to do to help. It's awesome. I like I have like the first I like shut down and what she doing, but later I figure out about the exercise, but little late kind of that.
It's missing a tear.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
That's how stressed she made me. She said, pick a 3 layer.
Who is the one person responsible for missing that third tier? They're fired.
Details.
I'm telling you, it was you, Season, because you rushed me.
I'm the manager. You're the team. You're doing the work.
But you did step in quite a bit, so I'd say it's probably really more your responsibility.
I was just helping. So
So
team 1 had the
Tell him,
experience
Season.
of someone stepping in to help, someone stepping in to give direction at every turn, someone stepping in if the team couldn't do something. Oh, that person did that for them. So I'm hearing it was stressful. I'm hearing that they figured out what I was onto that game. Anything else from team 1 about your experience?
Some of the instructions which you have mentioned were not available for us.
Unclear instructions.
I have a feeling that was intentional.
We're giving you a lot of instructions, but they're not very clear. And this just leads to stress, bewilderment, a 2-tiered cake. I'm going to go over to team 2. I want to see their work. Oh, tell us about this.
That looks awesome.
Well, we had someone take charge. We decided to, I guess each one worked on one layer. We started with the star first, and we were done at the 4-minute mark and went surfing.
Nice. And how was the experience for you?
Streamlined.
Mhm.
A pretty professional post-it cake maker.
Yeah, cooperative.
So I'm hearing we all went surfing together as a team because we had so much fun building the cake. We worked together. We determined our own roles. Collaboration. So if you're here with the cake, I gave you a little way to go back to the board. You can click on go to, or I'll also just bring you over here and I give you a warning. It's a little bit whiplashy. I'm going to summon you, not here, to where I am on the board in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So here's where we are, starting the presentation again, going to slide 11. This is ingredient 4 for high performing teams. It's motivation. When I first went into the Scrum Master field and I was getting the trainings, I was getting the certifications, I was taking classes, I saw this video over and over again in like every class in LinkedIn. Like I could not escape this damn Dan Pink Drive video to save my life. It was everywhere. I swear if I had to see it one more time, I was gonna scream. And now, years later, I'm like, yes, this is real. I get this. If you have not seen this video or you haven't watched it in a while, it's about what motivates people. It's about purpose, which we talked about. It's about mastery and gaining skill in a craft. And what I wanted to get through in that exercise is it's also about autonomy and making our own choices and our own decisions. So that part about leaving teams alone, letting them manage themselves, get better at what they do, but we're arriving at why we're here. That gets us to motivated teams who want to be there, who own their work, not feeding them instructions, not micromanaging, not assigning work, It's motivated people and motivated teams. And I see this over and over. Teams that have that purpose, autonomy, mastery, those are the high performing teams. The video is real. Questions or thoughts here? And I'll check chat because I'm so bad at it. So we've got a link there to Chris.
I'll just say you're welcome, because I know I was one of the people who showed it to you.
You were the first. You were the first. By the way, Eric did my CSM. My very first day as a Scrum Master was in Eric Rappin's CSM class. We'll never forget that. Changed my life.
Cheers.
All right. So we're coming up on the final one. And I want to ask you, this is another chat. It's unmute. What is something that you are proud of? And I want to say, I would encourage you not to use a work example. Anything that you've done or that you're doing or that you will do that you're proud of, and if you can make it outside of work, that's great. Here's mine. I have a t-shirt store on Etsy. And I made it because I'm really into this video game. It's a mobile game. It's a Disney game. It's about Disney villains and magic. It's really, really big in Japan. It's just getting started in America, so it's kind of hard to find merchandise. And I was like, hey, I want to wear a t-shirt that's kind of subtle, that speaks to the game, but isn't like in your face. Like maybe I could get away with wearing it to work. I couldn't find anything, so I just made one. And then I made more. And I figured other people might be like me wanting to wear these shirts, so I made a store. I've had it open for a little over 3 months. I've made like 122 sales. Like it's not anything big, but I made it and I designed those shirts. And anytime anyone buys them or leaves a review, it just makes me so happy. Like I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to spread the joy of this game. And I am really proud of my little store. What are you proud of?
My brother and I made a board game that's pirate themed. I'm quite proud of that. You can see it on the shelf behind me.
That's awesome. Do you have a link to it you could share?
I do. Hang on, I'll grab the link.
Please do. Eric, while you're grabbing that
I don't think
Silpa.
it's currently for sale because we have
Okay.
to finish one update because they changed a few things. But yes.
That's awesome. MC and Silpa, raising your hand. What are you proud of?
During the lockdown, I have made all the gardening group participants to share their experience because everybody was locked out. We were not having a physical get together. So I have posted online presentations by each gardener. I motivated them to talk. Initially, they were very hesitated to come up with their stories and share. So I have made them with a flyer or a poster for each participant and some bullet points on what they are going to share. And I have made 40 speakers to talk about during the lockdown.
That's awesome. You're bringing a community together in a time where it's been really challenging to make connections.
Thank you. That motivated me a lot.
That's amazing. Anybody else want to share? Chat or unmute?
To stick with the game thing, I at one point decided that I wanted to get really good at a certain game, and I worked my way up to actually participate in a semi-professional competition.
How was that experience? What was it like?
It was devastating because I wasn't really good enough to go anywhere but the first round, but it was fun being in this first round with a bunch of players that I recognized the gamer tags of. So yeah.
That's awesome. And Nadi, you're gonna be the last word. Take us out. What are you proud of?
I'm proud of to be a nomad and to like travel abroad to Canada and right now in USA. And I'm proud of to be here with you guys because for us, like entrepreneurs from Brazil, is some kind of to be proud of. It's like a meeting in English and try to take this for everyone in Brazil and improve. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So where I'm going with this, and this is ingredient, this is our final one for tonight. There are more, definitely, but I wanted to focus on these. And this is culture. And this one's hard because it's something intangible. It's something that you cannot force onto teams or an organization, and it's made up of so many things. It's diversity. It is about having fun. It's vulnerability. It's trust. It's safety. It's everything, beyond, if we take away the paycheck, the purpose, all of that, it's really the people and the connection and the community on a team. Teams that I work with that I consider to be high performing, they know at least a little bit about each other outside of work. They know people's passions. They might know a little bit about their families. They might know their cats. Might have probably been popping up in and out. If they haven't, I can introduce you later. But culture is something that's really, especially right now when we're all virtual, it's really challenging to build, and I don't have the answers here. I've tried some things with teams that have worked, but culture is more than just these team building exercises, but these have helped. We played games together as teams. We had drag queens teach us how to make sangria. We got together and went on like a virtual tour of a farm. Before daily Scrum, I might take a minute or two just to talk to people and ask how their day is going. Normally, I'm a little bit more buttoned up as a Scrum Master and like, oh, time box, get it started on time. But since we've moved to the virtual world, I've loosened up a little bit more, and I allow and encourage that conversation and going off the rails just a little bit more, just so we have that community and that trust and that vulnerability on the team. So ingredient 5, and it's a hard one, that's culture. High performing teams have a safe, trusting culture. So that is it. That's your top 5 secret ingredients for high performing teams. And I just wanted to thank you for being here and sharing this time. I know it's late, especially for anyone joining for a different time zone. And I'm just really appreciate that we got to share this time together and this conversation. Thank you.
Yay, rock on. Give it up for Season. Rock on. Nicely done.